Q13 Protection given to improvements made by bona fide holders under defective title. Welcome KSLU students to today's lecture. Right, settle down please and get your notebooks ready. Today we're breaking down the exact, rigid structure you need to score full marks for question 13 on your property law paper. This explainer, well, it isn't just about teaching you the law, it's about teaching you how to write the law in your exam. We're dealing with Section 51 of the Transfer of Property Act, and I'm going to show you precisely what the examiner expects to see on your answer script. Let's begin.
1. Introduction and meaning. 2. Essentials of Section 51. 3. Rights and improvements. 4. Illustrations. 5. Case laws. And 6. Object, limitations, and conclusion. Now listen carefully, you must strictly write these exact 6 headings on the very first page of your exam answer script as a table of contents. Examiners look for this precise structure. Let's begin with the first.
Heading 1. Introduction and meaning. Double underline this in your notebook to begin your answer.
The law protects a person who, in good faith, improves property believing himself to be the owner. Sec 51, Transfer of Property Act, 1882. So, in your notebook right now, I want you to write this text verbatim for your introductory paragraph. Remember, the evaluator has hundreds of papers to check, right? Establishing absolute academic rigor from your very first sentence is absolutely crucial, and I literally cannot emphasize enough the mandatory need to cite the statute perfectly. Please do not just write Section 51. You must write in full Section 51 of the Transfer of Property Act, 1882, and underline the year.
When a transferee in good faith makes improvements on property under a defective title and is later evicted by the true owner, he is entitled to certain reliefs. Let's deliberately elaborate on this definition because the examiners specifically check for 3 key words here. First up, good faith, meaning the transferee must honestly believe they are the absolute owner. Second, defective title. There has to be a flaw in the transfer that the buyer was genuinely unaware of. And third, evicted. The true owner must actually dispossess them. If you miss any of these 3 pillars in your meaning paragraph, your foundation is weak, and I guarantee you, marks will be deducted. Moving on to Heading 2, Essentials of Section 51. This is the core of the Bare Act.
Point 1. Transferee must have defective title, meaning the title is later found invalid. 2. Bona fide belief, an honest belief that he is the owner. 3. Improvements made, which must have added value to the property. And 4. Eviction by true owner, so the right arises only when evicted. In your exam booklet, you write these exactly as distinct, unmerged bullet points. Don't write this as a continuous paragraph. The evaluator wants to see the anatomy of the section laid out clearly. I am instructing you to memorize these 4 essentials word for word. Let's actually pause on the absolute necessity of the 4th point, the eviction trigger. The right under Section 51 remains completely dormant until the true owner actually initiates eviction. A mere threat, or say a realization of a defective title, is just not enough. The statutory right to claim relief crystallizes only upon eviction. Make sure you highlight this trigger in your notes.
Heading 3. Rights and improvements. Let's look at the specific legal remedies the evicted party can pursue under the statute.
Remedy 1. Claim compensation for the value of improvements versus Remedy 2. Require sale of property, where you ask the true owner to sell the property at market value. The transferee must elect one remedy. Pay close attention here, students, because you must forcefully explain the legal doctrine of election in your answer. The transferee cannot claim both, okay? The law dictates that he must choose, he must elect one of these 2 paths. Either you ask for the money you spent on the improvements, or you compel the true owner to sell you the underlying land at the market rate, excluding the improvement value. Make sure you write the exact phrase, doctrine of election, in your answer script to secure maximum marks for this segment.
Nature of improvements must be permanent and valuable, not merely temporary or ornamental. Now, to clarify this for the exam, you've got to provide context. Putting up a temporary shed, erecting a bamboo fence, or simply painting a wall, that does not qualify for Section 51 protection. The court looks for structural, permanent additions that substantially increase the market value of the immovable property, like constructing a solid brick house or sinking a deep irrigation well. Be sure to note this distinction.
Heading 4. Illustrations. Remember, providing an illustration demonstrates practical legal comprehension. Step 1. A buys land from B who had no title. Step 2. A built a house believing himself the owner. Step 3. True owner C evicts A. Step 4. A can claim compensation or require sale. I want you to draw this out step by step chronologically in your exam booklet.
Using a numbered format clearly proves to the examiner that you understand the timeline of bona fide belief and the subsequent eviction trigger. It's visually clean and it's academically precise. Don't just state the law, show exactly how it applies.
If A knew the title was defective, there is no protection. Let me sharply remind the class right now, knowledge of a flaw instantly destroys the bona fide defense. This is a classic trap in exam problem questions, so watch out. If the factual matrix hints that the buyer had noticed, even constructive notice, that the seller's title was shady, Section 51 is immediately thrown out the window. Good faith is the absolute bedrock of this protection.
Heading 5. Case laws. This is where we elevate a good answer to an excellent one.
Narayan v. Gopal. Protection applies only to a bona fide transferee. Authoritative case laws must be cited in bold letters or underlined on your answer script. Read this carefully and underline Narayan v. Gopal in your notes right now. You are strictly instructed to memorize this as the primary authority for the bona fide requirement. Whenever you discuss the necessity of honest belief, this is the exact citation that must accompany your explanation.
Next, Ram Gopal versus Kishan Lal. Emphasize the right to compensation for improvements. This right here is your secondary anchor case. While the first case establishes the good faith element, Ram Gopal versus Kishan Lal justifies the exact remedy of compensation. Citing both cases shows the examiner a multi-dimensional understanding of both the requirements and the remedies of Section 51.
Finally, Heading 6. Object, Limitations, and Conclusion. This signals the final part of a perfect exam script. Object of the provision: prevents unjust enrichment of the true owner, protects honest transferees, promotes fairness. Now, when you write your answer, you must lecture the examiner on the fact that mentioning unjust enrichment shows your grasp of the equitable principles behind the bare act. Think about it. The law will not allow the true owner to just sit back, let someone else spend lakhs of rupees building a house on their land, and then swoop in to take the land and the free house. That is unjust enrichment, and preventing it is the very soul of Section 51. Limitations. No protection if transferee acted in bad faith or knew about defective title. Just briefly reiterate this point to show completeness. Equity does not assist a party with unclean hands. If there's bad faith, the law steps back and offers zero statutory protection for the money spent. Conclusion. Section 51 ensures a bona fide transferee is not unfairly deprived of value added. It balances equity and ownership. I want you to write this verbatim. I am explicitly stating that closing with this exact summary paragraph, specifically focusing on the phrase balances equity and ownership, will guarantee maximum marks. It leaves the evaluator with a very strong impression of your analytical capability.
So, a final question for you. Have you structured your KSLU answer script exactly as outlined today to secure maximum marks in question 13? I firmly challenge all of you law students to strictly replicate this high-contrast, structured framework in your upcoming examinations. The headings, the bare act citations, the step-by-step illustrations, and the underlined case laws. Master this structure, and you'll master the paper. That concludes our explainer lecture for today. Study hard and prepare your scripts flawlessly.